This is 860 AM. The Answer.
Sponsored by The Way to My Heart Incorporated.
Welcome to the Heart of Innovation. 60 minutes that could save life and limb, with new breakthrough ideas and innovation changing the healthcare landscape. Brought to you by patient advocacy group thewaytomyheart.org in partnership with Abbott. Here are your hosts for the Heart of Innovation, Emmy Award-winning journalist and founder of The Way to My Heart, Kim McNicholas, and interventional cardiologist and founder of the Save My Piggies Health Education Series, Dr. John Phillips.
Welcome, everybody. It's 2024. I am live in my cath lab office here at Riverside Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, and Miss Kimberly is live on a boat somewhere in the seas of the Pacific. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in the Pacific Ocean. We are rounding out the end of our Hawaiian cruise on Princess Cruise Lines, and I'm at the back of the ship. I think this is considered aft, is what they call it in technical terms. I'm getting a thumbs up from our live studio audience here on Princess Cruises. We have Denise and Bill, who are two of my favorite cruise passenger friends. And yeah, we're hanging out. We have beautiful sun behind us. It's a little rocky, so if you are on our video podcast side of things, you'll see me rocking back and forth, and I'm holding on for dear life. It's rocky as we're coming up the shore. We were in Ensenada yesterday. This is the cruise to commemorate my mom. As you know, my mom passed away a year and a half ago, and this was supposed to be the 50th anniversary cruise for my dad and my mom. And because my mom isn't here, my dad got stuck with me.
Well, right. But, number one, Kim, this is our first show in 2024. So that's a milestone because we're entering, I guess, our second year of, being online and live. But there's a silver lining because your dad, and hopefully you'll be able to share this with us, got to check off something on his bucket list. And he too has some vascular and cardiovascular issues that have been addressed recently, and hopefully he's feeling better. So, number one, our show today, we've got two great guests, and we're just going to kind of have a candid conversation about what it is that they do, we do with respect to vascular care. I'm hoping to hear about their podcast. I'm hoping to hear about what their maybe vascular New Year's resolutions are, and kind of what keeps them up at night, what keeps them passionate. So it's going to be a fun, candid show, and I'm looking forward to ringing in 2024 with a good audience. And heck, we're live, and you're on a boat in the middle of the Pacific or thereabouts, so it doesn't get any better than this, right?
And I might be looking up. It's getting even rockier, so I'm starting to get a little seasick.
If you're going to vomit, just turn away. Just turn away from the camera, okay? Nobody needs to see
It's a little crazy. I've done really well. And actually, my dad just showed up over here, so it might be a good time to have him come in
as he
and
comes
share
in.
his story.
Yes. As he comes in, I'll just say, in earlier December, I was in Guatemala for a fishing tournament, and that's a long story we can talk about. But I too get pretty seasick, and I was happy. I only threw up once on the boat, and that was 3 days of fishing. So that was a win for me. Hey, Dad, how are you?
My dad is alive and well, as you can see. Yeah,
nice.
We weren't, it was literally the week before Christmas that he ended up. It was the Thursday prior, and like the Thursday prior. And he went to one of his Rotary functions for Christmas, and he calls me. He's like, Kim, I couldn't even make it up 3 stairs. I had to take the elevator up to the next floor for the party. And I started getting really concerned because we have the cruise coming up, and also simply losing my mom. I don't want to lose my dad again, all in the same year and a half. And so I got really concerned. So of course I messaged you, I messaged Dr. Jade Matthews, I messaged Dr. James Joy, who's in our San Francisco Bay Area. And I said, I don't know what to do. He also woke up that Sunday morning with some chest pain. And I really started freaking out that I wasn't going to have my dad there for long. Dr. James Joy said, I need you here in clinic first thing Monday morning. He was on the table Tuesday with his partner, Dr. Murphy, and they were able to open up 2 coronary blockages, both moderate vessels, branches of the right coronary, and they were more than 95% blocked, and one close to 100% blocked. And he literally, by that Friday, that was Tuesday, by that Friday, we were on the cruise ship. He was walking up 14 flights of stairs, 2.5 miles around the decks. Great for walking, as you know, when it's a little smoother. And then yesterday, this is 2 weeks in, he crossed off something on his bucket list, zip lining, where he had to hike up 56 flights, or the equivalent of 56 flights of stairs, and walk 2 miles in between the 4 zip lines. And he succeeded. And look, he's here.
I'm here.
Here today.
There he is. How'd it feel? Did you just do straight up zip lining, or did you go Spider-Man or upside down or whatever it was?
Upside down.
No, I didn't. They wouldn't let me go on the single cable.
We were double cabled. So
Oh, I see.
you know, you can only do that on one cable,
Which the workers did.
which all the workers, they gave us a demo right beforehand, and it actually eased my concerns. I'm scared of heights. And so I was able to do it, and seeing them upside down, you know, on their heads. So he's heading up. He's going to go. He just got a tour with the captain on the bridgeway. And then he is now going to go play bocce. So incredibly active. And I can't even keep up with him on this ship. And just to think that 2 weeks ago, he couldn't even make 3 stairs. So something to be said for just fighting and trusting your intuition and always getting that second and third opinion.
So, Kim, we've got about 2 minutes before we go to break, but my thought would be to at least introduce our guests and then kind of get the ball rolling for that conversation. But before that, do we have anything to do?
I think we need to have a moment of inspiration. We need to
Dr.
kick off the new year.
Phillips, spectacular, vascular moment of inspiration.
Well, so I was Colin, well done. I love it, my friend. It never gets old. And this week's quote's going to be very simple. I was trying to look for some kind of inspirational quotes for the new year. And we all look towards what are we going to, at least I do, what am I going to do better or be better at, or maybe kind of create something or whatever. And Abraham Lincoln, I think, said it best. He said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And, our 2 guests, we've got 2 guys. Miguel's a friend of mine, a vascular surgeon from Texas. His colleague, Lucas Fair, an interventional cardiologist, they have a podcast. They're creating it. And we're just going to talk with them the remainder of the show as to, what it is that they do in their practice, what keeps them fired up. And I'm looking forward to a good show.
Yeah, I love Dr. Miguel Montero Baker and Dr. Lucas Ferrer. Lucas Ferrer is an interventional cardiologist, I believe.
That's correct.
Or is he a vascular surgeon? I'm seeing Dr.
Lucas and I are both vascular surgeons.
We're both vascular surgeons.
I'll say I'm actually really proud when anybody calls me an interventional cardiologist, because I feel they have phenomenal wire skills and endovascular skills. So I will take that. I will always say that if
Miguel, I know you're a vascular surgeon, but I'm just getting to meet Lucas. So I love my vascular surgeons.
We'll go into details here in the next segment, but Lucas and I have a long history, and he is a fabulous vascular surgeon in the city of Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. And just as we get ready to go into break, just a quick, I want to say hello. Lucas, say hello here.
Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, I'm not offended at all to be called an interventional cardiologist.
But the interesting thing about it is I doubt as an interventional cardiologist anybody would call me a vascular surgeon. So that's one of our vascular surgeons, real quick, we were doing a hybrid case together, and he had kind of asked me if I wanted to sew on part of the patch to the common femoral artery, which is what these guys do. They'll clean out the artery much better than what we can do with balloons and stents and things of that nature. And I started doing it, and I thought, wow, this is going to take too long. I'm just going to let you finish off. So
was it fun?
What's that?
Was it fun?
It was fun, except he got impatient with me, and we're very good friends, and I'm a little bit his senior, so he didn't smack my hand like a resident or anything. But I realized that we didn't have enough time for me to do this.
Well, keep on listening here to the Heart of Innovation on 860 AM. The Answer. We will be back after these messages.
Leg health can indicate risk for heart attack,
It's
stroke, and
so
amputation.
bumpy.
If you have leg pain or cramps while walking, get
Oh my
checked for
goodness.
peripheral artery disease or PAD.
Sorry,
Um,
my body's clear on that side right now. I think we have about 2 minutes or so till we come back on it.
All right. So when we come back,
fantastic.
Miguel and Lucas, we'll just kind of jump into your relationship and all that good stuff.
Yep.
When you go to break, we're always kind of silent until Cullen gives us the all clear where we can start talking. And that's about it. Cullen, next segment, or Kim, next segment's what, about 8 minutes or so?
Usually it's about 9.
Yes, from what I'm looking at now, should be about 8 to 10.
8 to 10. All right. Well, I'll set my watch and you'll give us the 2 minutes.
I don't know if we're really dipping in here. But also, we are live, still continued on YouTube and LinkedIn, even though we're on break. So just keep that in mind as well.
Saturday.
I'm catching up on my lunch. I'm sorry, but I'm here. I'm ready to talk anytime. Just let me know.
No, that's great.
Miguel, I have to ask, was that a little glass of wine?
World's most sought after expert on making organizations.
I mean, maybe there's some grape involved here. I get
Some
very
white grape
nervous.
juice.
I get very nervous when I speak in front of people. So
The Mentors, Saturday at 2
That's
p.m.
awesome.
So full of it. He does not even close.
Hey, you know what?
But I like that
All
excuse.
right, guys, I'm looking right now, about 20 seconds till we air, okay?
We'll talk about that, but I won an Emmy for an educational program I did over 10 years ago in Arizona with PBS. I forgot to tell you, we're Emmy awardees, both of you.
Yes. I love
I
that.
just interrupt 10
I
seconds.
had no idea.
I
10 seconds. We're going live. 10 seconds.
For terms and conditions.
This is 860 AM. The Answer.
You need to put it on your podcast.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I am on dry land in Columbus, Ohio. Kim is in the Pacific Ocean on a boat that is quite wobbly, and we are joined by two vascular surgeons, Miguel Montero Baker and Lucas Fair, both of whom know each other in the Texas region. They also have a podcast, so we're going to jump right in. Miguel and Lucas, how do you guys know each other? Give us a little bit about your background, what it is you're doing down in the Lone Star State, and thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys for inviting us, for sure. You wanna take that question, Miguel, or should I?
Yeah, I think that I'll intro where we come from, and then I'm sure we'll get into the pod a little bit later. And I think that was mainly you. So I have been now in the U.S. for over probably about 15 years or so. I stumbled the world through Europe and Latin America in my path towards becoming a limb preservation expert. And one thing led to the other. And once I got my American Board of Vascular Surgery, I became an associate professor at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. And when I got here, everything was new for me. It was a new position. It was a new city. I had moved from Arizona. I'd done my American Board of Vascular Surgery down in Tucson, the U of A. And one of the really comforting surprises that I fell into, of course, being Baylor, a historically important academic program, was having to meet the trainees on the first day. And it was such a blessing to realize very shortly that it was a couple of great physicians. One of them is Angela Echeverria. She's now down in Florida. And then the other one was Lucas Ferrer. And what was really cool about Lucas in particular was the relationship we had, both coming from a Hispanic background. And Lucas is from the island of Puerto Rico. And I am from the not island, yet country, Central America, Costa Rica. And I always say that because throughout every year I've been in America, everybody always confuses Puerto Rico and and Costa Rica.
I love both places.
They're both beautiful.
They're both beautiful.
Right? They're so amazing. Both for very different reasons. One full of a lot of history, another one full of just amazing atmospheres and micro atmospheres. But anyway, that was our connection. And throughout 2 pretty arduous training years, and what tends to be this love-hate relationship, right? Of course, that you have with as a faculty attending with your trainees, and how they get on your nerves, but how you end up loving them because of everything they mean and everything they do for you. But it was really it was very enjoyable. Lucas was fantastic. He has phenomenal hands. It was a pleasure to train him. And at the end of I would say most of these training relationships, you end up being really good friends. And that was it. And so Lucas still today becomes somebody I call on a regular basis. And we developed this really beautiful friendship throughout the years.
So that's, and one thing that you bring up that is really interesting is that you mentioned that you do still call each other. And I see that all the time with different vascular specialists and doctors in general. And my favorite ones are the ones that are not afraid to pick up the phone to say, hey, I have this really complex case. What would you do? And I assume that even though he was, in a sense, one of your mentees in school, that you're still able to call him to say, hey, what's your perspective? Do you have any particular situation that in which stands out that you called them and you said, hey, Lucas, what would you do?
I'll even go as far as saying that we created, and this will be funny in the context of the conversation, being that we're vascular surgeons. And so one of the things that I always have been really keen on, because when I did my training in Europe, I did it under interventional cardiology. So I was in Europe for about 3 years, training under interventional cardiologists. And so for almost 3 years, I did not see a scalpel. And for me, that was huge. It was huge. It was very mind setting in what the new era of vascular surgery should be. And I remember being always saying, guys, we just have to be unbiased. It's what the patient needs. And we need to provide an unbiased approach. What do I mean? We have this kind of open, big surgeries, and we have now these minimally invasive procedures we can do. And when we come to save legs, we just have to be very smart and try to be very critical about what's the best thing we could do for the patient. And so, Kim, to your question, we actually have a chat now called the Unbiased Group. And it's just a few of these trainees that I had in the past. And I will go and I will post pictures and CT scans. And I'm the senior guy. And I'll say, guys, I need feedback. This is a super complex case. I respect all of you. They have all now gone and become phenomenal leaders in each one of their communities. But it's really cool to get the feedback. And there's like a super private guy, there's another super private guy, then there's academic guys in this group, but we're all the unbiased vascular surgeons that are very well-versed in minimally invasive therapies. And it's just great. And to see, I'm telling you, the ultimate goal of every faculty should be to see their patho ones just outgrow them, right? Be better than you, be more amazing than you, be able to teach you. And I think that's a very mature culmination of life when you get to that.
No, you know what, Miguel, that's a great point because, I came from a interventional cardiology background and I went and trained with Gary Ansel and Chip Body and Mitch Silver here at Riverside. And, now we're training some other younger interventional cardiologists who do PV. And one of them, I told them the same thing. I said, listen, my job is to train you to be better than me. And so that's what it's all about. So, Lucas, how does it feel? We've got about a minute left, and obviously we'll continue this after the break. But how does it feel to give advice to your mentor?
I mean, he's being very modest. I'm the one that calls him the most. I mean, I actually called him last week. I had a ruptured aneurysm, and we were having some questions of post-manage, how to manage him after we sealed him, and I just immediately called Miguel, and I find myself doing that a lot. So yeah, I'm very lucky. I think, when you go into training, you find people you want to emulate. And for me, it's very easy to want to emulate what Miguel was doing and take a lot of notes of what he was doing, and then I was fortunate enough to kind of have him, even after I finished, kind of take me under his wing. So this kind of all comes from that, and the podcast kind of comes from that relationship in a way, and from the experiences that his relationship has brought. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
We're going
Coming
to find out more here on The Heart of Innovation, hosted by Dr. John Phillips and Emmy Award winning writer Kim McNichols. Here listening on 860 AM The Answer. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after these messages.
All right.
3 years ago, my symptoms started with leg pain
Everybody
and
clear?
leg cramps while walking.
Me too, with a tightness in my calf.
How long is the break?
Do you know, my doctor thought that
2 minutes.
cramps were a side effect of this.
Hold on, wait for you. Patient commercial, you're 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Of old age.
Mine thought the pain was ready.
Okay.
John,
Perfect.
My doctor blamed
John,
my
I have a question.
diabetes until I got
How
a
Yes.
disease
often
on my
does
foot
how
that just wouldn't
often
heal.
is it
Yeah, it turns
that
out
the
we all have
aneurysms would
peripheral
rupture?
artery disease, also known as PAD.
I'll
It's
let
plaque
my
buildup
surgical
mainly in
colleagues
the
comment
leg
on that. We can
causing poor
actually field that
circulation.
question
For me,
live
the
on the show.
diagnosis came too late,
But it
and I lost
really
my
depends
leg.
on this,
But
you know, what the
that does
size
not
is.
have to happen to you.
No,
After
it
a
does
certain
not,
size,
because there
the
are
frequency of
treatment
rupture goes
options
up pretty
available if you're
significantly.
Is there
diagnosed
ways
early
to
enough.
prevent it?
PAD, peripheral artery
Um,
disease.
you know,
If
to
you've been
prevent it,
experiencing leg
there's
pain,
actually
leg cramps, or
potentially something down
neuropathy
the
when
pike,
walking, and
preventing
your
growth
pain
at a certain
isn't healing
size.
you,
But
we
really, what
are.
our job
We
is to
are the
do
Way
is
to
to
My
try to
Heart,
reroute
the
the blood
largest
flow
support network
and
for
kind of help
peripheral artery
prevent it
disease
from
patients.
rupturing.
And we
So
want to
that's
help
what
you
stents do
get
with
back on
bypass
your
surgery
feet
does.
again. Visit our website
So
at
guys, Miguel, Lucas,
waytomyheart.org
why
or
don't
call
we
our Lifesaver
let's go.
hotline
You want to go into your
405-320-7138.
podcast a little bit for that next segment, and
Your
then
life and
got some
limb
other
could
questions
depend
for you
on it.
moving on, and then we can take a couple live questions from the audience. How's that sound?
Yeah, that works.
Marie, we'll give you your. I'll let you ask that question. If not this segment, the next one.
Hi, it's the Snowman inviting you to tune into Dr.
Okay,
Health
thank
Radio
you.
this
You
and
bet.
every Saturday morning with information on losing weight,
Probably
getting
would
fit,
work even just in
eliminating
this
bad
segment, just
habits, and
because we
having
just
more
talked about
energy
the
and
ruptured
vitality for
aneurysm,
the new year.
since
It's
he
David
just
Snow
mentioned
on
it.
Dr. Health Radio this
Yeah, that
Saturday
works too.
morning at 9 here on 860 AM.
That's what
Heads
my
up, we
mom
have 1 minute, 30
passed from.
seconds till we are live again.
And then I was just diagnosed with one.
New benefits not included
Actually,
with
mine's
original
thoracic.
Medicare and
Can
older
you
Medicare
do?
Advantage plans. You may not be
I
getting
have one
all
now.
the benefits you're entitled to.
I was just
including
diagnosed,
end-of
yeah.
aids, telephone appointments with
Yeah.
your doctors, home delivered meals and
Well,
prescriptions.
well,
These benefits may be
now I
available,
don't feel
and it's
so
a free
bad.
call to enroll.
Because I know
No,
I have
it's
that
Also
one on
offer
my
free
ear, and
eyeglasses, free
it
hearing
scares
aids,
me every
free
day.
wellness
That's
visits,
why I
and
asked if
gym
there's
memberships.
ways
Call the
to
Medicare
prevent
benefits line
them
now.
from
It's
rupturing
easy.
or anything. But
Call 800
you do
316
everything right. How did you get one?
800 316
genetics.
3280. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits
I
like
have
meal and
a
prescription delivery, in-home
university,
aids, and
UCSF.
telemedicine. Some
They
plans may
want
have
to
a
study
$0
my
monthly
genetics
premium
because
or
my
zero
mom passed
copays
of
for
it.
big out-of-pocket
My
savings. Not all
brother
Medicare Advantage plans are alike.
has
The new plans have
multiple
more benefits for many
aneurysms,
people. Call
and so they
800
think there might be
316
some sort of
3280.
tissue
800 316
disorder.
3280.
Oh man,
800
Let's talk about it.
316 3280.
just what you needed.
Fake news. It's a
I know,
love-hate
exactly.
relationship. Well, let's be honest. More.
But good
hate.
it's
We
good
agree.
to
That's why we're different.
learn you have it
Salem
early so
News
you
Channel
can
has assembled
mitigate the risk
greatest collection
factors.
of conservative minds.
Well,
all
that's
in
why I
one
have
pressure.
so
place.
many
Oh, the
questions.
Charlie
Nobody's
Kirk, Hugh
told me
Hewitt, Eric
anything
Metaxas, and
about.
more.
Sorry to interrupt everyone. We got
Plays
10
on
seconds till
TV
we
for
air.
lovers of freedom
Okay,
like
Marie,
you.
I'll mute you and then
All
On
I've been
any screen, free,
unmute
24/7.
when
Find what you're looking for.
we're ready.
SNC.TV. That's SNC.TV.
860 AM. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNichols and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We are continuing our conversation with doctors Miguel and Lucas, two vascular surgeons. And, you know, the beauty of it, this is a live show, and we have live audience members. And Lucas had just mentioned he had called Miguel about a ruptured aneurysm, just kind of an outpouching of one of the vessels. And we had during the break, we had a question from one of our live audience members. And so let's field it right now. Marie, what was the question that you had for our two vascular surgeons?
One, what can we do ourselves that have the aneurysms to prevent them from rupturing? And is there anything we can do to help, like, to eliminate it?
All right, gentlemen, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Lucas take that. You know, that's why I'm his attending now.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah, not much you can do to prevent it from rupturing or growing. I think there are some companies out there that are trying to bring up medications and catheter delivered medications to help prevent growth. But at the moment, we don't have anything. Risk factors are genetics, so you can't really change that. And the other big risk factor is smoking. So if you're smoking, obviously stopping smoking will help, might help. But
I will add to that, Lucas, to Marie's point. You know, one of the very basic things that you want to understand is, as Lucas said, sometimes it's just the genes you've been, handed down, right? And there's not much you could do to change your DNA. But if you subject your blood vessels to super high pressure, then they're going to inevitably widen. And so one of those things, as Lucas was alluding to, is your risk modification. And so anything you can do to have a healthier cardiovascular system and keep your blood pressure in check, that's going to be important, right? And so taking your blood pressure meds are something super important. I know this is one that people don't talk a lot about, but having chronic cough and COPD related problems that are under check. And then actually there was an old study where there was some increased risk on people that would have a lot of trouble going to the restroom, where they would have to just push and push and push and push on a daily basis to go number two. And so even that basic things are little stuff that you could do. So increasing your fiber diet, making sure that you don't have GI issues related to not being able to go number two, taking your blood pressure medications, and overall healthy cardiovascular system. I think those are little small things that at least can get you some degree of control. And at the end of the day, to Lucas' point, unfortunately, you may be you may be really good at all those things, and still some of these may grow. And so,
it's so interesting that you mentioned the lung issues, because I have adult onset of asthma, and so that we were talking during the break that I was diagnosed with, mine's only 3.7 in terms of size. So, but they said for my frame, that's actually a little bit more than it should be. And with a genetic history, my mom had it, my mom transitioned because of it. My younger brother has one, that there is some concern. So they do have me on a yearly watch, but I now have something else that I need to make sure that I keep under control, which is the asthma.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, isn't that life though, right? I mean, life is controlling what you can control. You can't control your genetics. You can't control the fact that dad had it or mom had it, but you can control, like Miguel said, Lucas said, your blood pressure. We tell folks not to bear down, do stool softeners. I think aerobic activity is fantastic for helping lower blood pressure. So I encourage my patients to exercise. I don't want them to lift a lot of heavy weights though, and the isometric bearing down. But
actually, for my brother, they ended up telling him to lay off a lot of the heavy weight lifting. So exactly right.
So speaking of heavy lifting, Kim, about a year and a half ago, you and I started this little adventure called the Heart of Innovation and the Save My Piggies. And, we've been going strong, and I think we have a fantastic relationship, and, the Batman and Robin, peanut butter jelly kind of combination. But so these two guys, Lucas, Miguel, you all started a little podcast too. Is that right?
yeah, we started a podcast called Life of Flow, and I think it's been like 5 months since we started. We've been talking about it for a while, and kind of, mid this year just decided to do it. And it's been great. It's been very fun. I have a great
But I'm
time.
curious what those conversations are like, because it always stems from some sort of conversation. There's a catalyst conversation that happened where you both kind of realize, wow, this is a really cool discussion. Wow, we should share this.
Yeah, for
Can
me,
you
for me, the aha moment was we were at a conference earlier this year before, we started, and Miguel invited me to a dinner after the conference, and there were, several people that I admire within the field, and we were just sharing stories, and there are some things I really love in life. One of them is operating, and the other one is having conversations with, people that have like-minded interests and stuff like that. So, I was just, it was part of like what I want to do in life. I want to do things that for me are play and for other people are work, and that I truly enjoy doing. So yeah, that's kind of like, where Miguel and I started talking about it.
So do you guys just converse between the two of you, or do you have guests on the show? And if you have guests, then I'm assuming, Kim and I will be invited at some point. But tell us about the structure of the show.
Yeah, I mean, our producer should have sent those emails. If not, she may be fired. Okay. So, we will check that Monday, 7 a.m.
First thing.
I love he just invites ourselves.
Yeah,
Why
hey, listen, Kim, we're shameless. I'm shameless.
Yeah, shameless self-promotion.
Kim, you've been on the road with us, and John, you and I have shared podium at a few different meetings. There's always this very formal, scientifically based part of our meeting where you have these minds sharing, but there's always this more social, yet still intellectually, very exciting, which is really sometimes when you just go down and have a beer or sit down and kick your shoes off and just talk about stuff. And it may be something, a new project, a new non-for-profit, or maybe something happening in your life, right? I mean, there's just these little moments where you share, and it's people that get it, because we are all in this very highly stressful environment in our jobs, and we just don't get that colleague to colleague interaction other than when we go to those meetings. And it may be limited by the fact that you have to do slides for the next day, so you cannot stay and enjoy it more. And Lucas, called me up and said, I just miss these conversations. I get to talk to you and some of these folks just once or twice a year. How cool would it be that we could build something where other people may enjoy it? And, the beauty about podcasting is you don't have to convince anybody else other than yourself that this is something that people may want or enjoy. And really our target audience is other people within our specialty, or within the business of cardiovascular medicine, that have these conversations on a daily basis. And so it goes all over. It's all over the place, guys. It's business.
We're going to find out more about this here on the Heart of Innovation, listening on 860 AM The Answer with Dr. John Phillips and Kim McNichols. Don't go anywhere.
I missed the cue. I would have stopped.
I love that Colin has gotten so bold.
Brought to you by.
I know. Well, because I texted on the chat, and I was like, "How much?" Because I'm thinking, all right, we have 30 seconds, and I didn't have my stopwatch going, and I was off. So I said, "How much time?" And then Colin goes in. So good job, Colin.
That was really good.
I thought I was playing the heart cues and the music coming through. Did you guys not hear it at all?
No, we don't hear it.
No. We don't hear it.
Hold on real quick. Let me change something to make sure that you guys can hear it then, because I thought it was coming through, but give me 2 seconds.
No worries. All we hear is the blah, 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 blah. Yeah. It was great.
No, I love the conversation. I love the conversation though, because I think Kim and I, we have that conversation pretty regularly. Like, what is the content that we want to provide? How do you make it relevant to people, not just medical professionamos, but the lay person at large? And Kim's connections are so fantastic that I'm the Tony Romo to Jim Nance here. So those of you that listen to football, but no, it's a great time. I enjoy really what we do. So let's continue. let's just continue this conversation because I think it's
Yeah, I kind of want to hear, one of the things that I think is so cool, and I agree with you guys at those conferences, what I enjoy most and what always baffles me is that when you walk up to people, um, you guys are still all loving, you guys are sharing your cases. You're still sharing these memorable cases. And so many patients think that the doctors just forget about them, forget about their case when they leave the clinic.
Yeah.
But when I go to those conferences and I hear you guys just having a beer and still talking about the cases, it blows my mind. And it's almost comforting because it just shows the passion that you really have for patients. And it could be just the conferences that we go to that are like that. I don't know. I think that we go to a really special set of conferences with some really special people that truly it's their life's purpose to save life and limb.
Sorry to
Your
interject,
cancer
everyone.
just
We have a
magic.
little bit over 1 minute and 10 seconds. Right now, I think I got the problem fixed about not hearing the music. I just want to make sure the echo isn't coming back. So if all of y'all join the conversation a little bit, just want to hear the echoes coming back and forth.
The next segment is how long?
Next segments are full 10-minute one.
Full 10.
Okay.
Thank you.
So funny. When we podcast, we don't time, right? I mean, we just go. And we've done 30 minutes to 2 hours and a half. But when you time it the way that you guys do, because you're on this radio, you don't realize how time flies. Right? It's like 8 minutes done, 8 minutes done, 10 minutes done. And you're like, oh,
I mean, there are times where Kim and I could probably just talk the whole time, and whether or not that's fruitful for anybody or anybody's listening. But you're right, exactly. Because you're like, holy cow, wow, like the time's over. And then our last segment's only what?
With the irony of that, we have 10 seconds till we air.
All right.
See,
I would love in this one for you three to share. Like, I want to hear how that conversation would go.
8:60 a.m. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Happy Saturday, everybody. It's 34 degrees here in Columbus, Ohio, and probably 95 in the Pacific where Kim is. But we're having a blast, having a good conversation with Miguel and Lucas. They're just discussing their podcast with us. Kim and I, during the break, we talk about how we come up with content and try to make it relevant not only to those that have a medical bend, but just the lay public in general. And so, you guys were saying that you're continuing conversations that you'd like to have with fellow colleagues outside of a conference or dinner. And so, how does that go? How do you come up with a topic, or is it just what's on your mind for that day, or do you have a specific schedule that you try to work around?
If you guys listen to the jingle of our podcast, it's something like two vascular surgeons go into a bar and walk out with a podcast. And that really is it. It's whatever is going in our lives or in our minds or in the business arena that we feel other people may find also intellectually appealing. And, I'll put some buckets out there. Research, clinical vignettes, wealth management, legal advice, and just cool stuff overall. That's got nothing to do maybe with medicine. We've gone into some pretty philosophical stuff also at times. But I mean, I'll put it this way, Lucas. What have been your top 2 or 3 favorite ones of us that you to kind of showcase how we're all over the place?
My favorite ones have been the DVA rants, where we go into really kind of technical nuances about deep vein arterialization, which is kind of a topic that we both love.
Very important for the listeners of this program, right? So this is a very advanced technique for limb preservation on no options.
Right. Do you ever feel like a topic like that is just is it pigeonholing your audience, or do you make it such that a sixth grader could understand the process?
No, I mean, I want to do a podcast that I enjoy, because I think that's a podcast this is directed towards people that are in the field.
Okay.
I think there are other people that will be better at communicating to the general population these type of concepts. And I don't want to. I want to make something for the vascular surgeon, for the interventional cardiologist, for the interventional radiologist, for the wound care specialist, for the podiatrist. And I think that, I think sometimes we think that a general audience won't get all of it or part of it or none of it, but I think they, just by listening to it, they might get enough where they're curious and can go look for more in sources that might explain it better than we can, because I don't think that's my forte. Miguel might do it better than I would, but from the start, that wasn't the concept. The concept was a niche podcast. And it doesn't need to grow to be a humongous thing. It can be its own thing and stand alone by itself. And yeah.
Yeah, if Kim or John, if you grab all vascular surgeons in America and you put them into a single space, they will not fill up a football stadium. That's how few we are. And if we could get 10% of that, it's still good.
Yeah.
And I know that there's going to be other specialties very interested, and people, for example, in startup companies and in wealth management. And even this was a funny one because we didn't really chase it down. They kind of looked for us, where there was a divorce lawyer that wants to come and talk to us about asset protection. And we thought that was something that we didn't really chase down, but we go always to the basics. So if you and I, after a meeting, we're talking and all of a sudden we meet a lawyer, would we have a conversation with him about what he does? And the answer is yes. And we'd like to understand what they do. And so, yeah, sure. I'm not saying with that I'm in any way, shape, or form supporting not staying married. I'm the happiest man in the world with my wife and have a beautiful 11-month baby. But those are things that people around us probably are very interested in listening to. And so we want to welcome this and make it a very intimate conversation.
I think that's kind of the ability to distill things that are complicated and disseminate that information, even though your peers are obviously well versed in the language, I think is really important. But also what I really enjoy about what we do is just meeting, like you had said, meeting new people. I mean, Kim thankfully has introduced me to somebody who made Tesla transducers or something at Burning Man, and we got to meet the gentleman that helps run the ALS Foundation for the former Saints football player. So I mean, it's really cool to be able to talk to people. And Kim, I know you and I too, we've shared fairly intimate details about ourselves that I don't know that I would share with people in the hallway that I'm in, but for whatever reason, when sometimes you're on a podcast, you just feel like you can talk.
Yeah, I mean, you are on there, you feel like everyone who's listening is really their family, and we really want to resonate with people, and people like to listen to people that they can relate to, and that's why it's really important. You and I have shared very, very personal information and emotions about the loss of a parent, and we've used them also as a learning experience for others, not only medically but also just personally. And I think that people really resonate with that. And as Miguel and Lucas were saying, I know we have to go to break in a moment, but just that your vascular surgeons, your fellow vascular surgeons can certainly resonate with what you are sharing. And so the more that they can relate, the more they're going to listen.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and we're not only vascular surgeons, but also we have guests that are interventional cardiologists, interventional radiologists. We want people that are in the space where we're not, putting ourselves in silos in that case. So we welcome anybody that has an interest in vascular disease.
I love it.
At the end of the day, there's enough quote, work for everybody, vascular surgeons, interventional radiologists, interventional cardiologists. We are stronger as a team than we are as individuals.
100%.
I agree.
Yeah.
And after, we're going to head up on a break right now, but with our last segment, we're going to talk about what's burning these guys, keeping them up at night. So stay with us.
Alameda Alliance for Health is your local partner in health, and we're here to remind you to take
Everybody's
action
clear.
to keep your Medi-Cal coverage.
Hey, y'all,
This one we only have 1 minute till we
Good.
come back on air.
We're missing out without the music. I've been rocking here since they
I
started.
know. We need some more jingles. I have to tell Ali.
I know, yeah. I'm thinking now we gotta like mix our podcast up a little bit and add a little bit more.
I saw that someone asked if they can listen to the podcast. Yeah, the podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, everywhere. You don't need to be in any group or anything. You can just go to Spotify or Apple, YouTube, and find us Life of Flow.
Yep. And you can subscribe to it.
You can subscribe to it. And as I said, I think even if you're not like a specialist in the field, you'll be able to get a lot of the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
all right, folks, I hate to do it, but 10 seconds till we air.
No worries.
Schools at 860amtheanswer.com. This is 860 AM, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Hard to believe it, but the show is almost over. We've only got about 4 minutes left, and I think we've had a really interesting conversation with Miguel and Lucas. Kim obviously joins me. So, guys, we've got, again, 4 minutes left. What's keeping you up at night in 2024? And, what are you looking forward to changing, whether it's in your personal life, your professional life? So I'm curious. Let me get into your brains. Lucas?
Many things, mostly getting new skills in organization and leadership and in like media space, I guess, that we just entered. Just like learning new skills and enjoy the process. That's a global, I guess, look at what I'm interested in this year.
I like it. Miguel?
John, as you may or may not know, but after 10 years in the ivory towers, the Baylors, the corporate academic medicine facilities in the world, I decided to leave and build my own spot where I thought we were doing a great job in the hospital, but we were doing a crappy job of giving patients a home. And they would come, in the epitome of their sorrow, and we would do a great job, but then we would give them absolutely no landing runway to go to and no place that they could call home. And my return, after I would do these complex procedures and save legs, was about 20% of patients that would actually follow me in clinic. And so it was very clear to me that we needed to do something different. And since I did that now 14 months, I've realized how unfortunately challenged our healthcare is to provide good outpatient, solid care. And so my dream, it's my bittersweet relationship with this dream is it's incredibly hard, but I dream of a day that we can provide a home for these patients to go into, to be cared for, and that they have the right team, the right family there, and that they know where to go. And I am very, very early in this building block stage, but I hope I can get there.
You know what? I think the quote, it was a little serendipity there because, again, Lincoln said the best way to predict the future is to create it. So,
yep.
You're creating. Kim, we've got 2 minutes left. What are we going to create in 2024?
Well, I mean, the one thing for me, for the benefit of patients, just out, it was one of the publications, 1 Year Freedom from Amputation, Survival and Cost of Care Following the Tibial and Pedal Endovascular interventions for that critical limb ischemia, the advanced stage of PAD, and the role of atherectomy, those roto-rooting devices and drug-eluting stents, it was withdrawn. And I'm just honestly, I'm hoping for a resolution to this battle between folks that don't believe in advanced methods and the folks in more amputations and the folks that are exhausting all efforts to save life and limb. And I'm really hoping for a resolution, and I'm happy to be a part of that change, creating that change that we want to see.
And we only have a minute left, and I'll just dovetail on that. I mean, I think what I'd really like for us to be able to do is have that, we've talked about, have that Save My Piggies conference where we can interact with patients and physicians, share the trials and tribulations that they go through and that we as physicians go through. Because it's not just, we're all kind of plumbers here, and yeah, we can get the plumbing open, but to Miguel's point, there's a lot more that goes into it, and it truly does take a village.
It does. It does. Well, thanks everyone. Happy 2024, our first show of 2024. And if you want to listen to the Life of Flow podcast, definitely check out Spotify. And we are also there as well, the Heart of Innovation. So make sure you subscribe to both.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys, for having
the invitation. Thank you very much. And you all have a blessed 2024. Hopefully we can have you very soon.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Ellie's on it. Don't worry about it.
You guys are clear on that side. I just need to let the music